Hi, this is William from Great Affordable Watches, and today I'm gonna go through what I think is the best value for money watches in the price range from $100 to $10,000. So I will basically go through most price ranges and I will tell you 4 watches I think offers great value for money. And of course, there are a lot of great watches in these price ranges. So this is just my opinion. And for me, value is when a watch or something else offers something special or something great for a very good price, and maybe offers something that more expensive watches offers but for a lower price. So let's start with the price range from $100 to $200. I have already made a video covering most of these watches, but I will cover them again because I think they are such a great watches, all of them. And the first watch is of course the Seiko SKX009 or 007, and we all know the SKX009. It's a fantastic watch, fantastic dive for the price, and it's an icon really. So I don't have to say much about that watch because most of us already know it. And it's a great watch for the money. Yeah, the movement is a bit outdated and not particularly accurate, but nonetheless it's a fantastic watch. The second watch is the TISELL 915A Antique, and TISELL is a South Korean based watch company, and TISELL himself offers great service and great quality control and great watches overall. And I think the 915A Antique is probably one of his better and best looking watches in my opinion. The Marine Diver is probably the most popular watch TISELL got, but me personally I think the 915 Antique is my favorite. It offers the most unique design of all of his watches I think, and it offers a Miura 950 movement for under $200 including shipping. And that's just fantastic in my opinion. So if you're looking for a dress watch, this is a great option. Another great option, another great dress watch is the Orient Bambino Gen 2, and especially with the ivory dial and blue hands. And now with the new in-house movement that features both hacking and hand winding, I think the Orient Bambino is a fantastic option. And for about $150 you get great design, great looks, fantastic looks honestly, and an in-house movement from Orient. I think it's just an unbeatable package. The fourth watch is the Citizen NH8350-83L, I think it's called, and this is a personal favorite, and this watch has become quite popular because it's a great looking watch with a fantastic blue dial. And I have a review of this watch, so please check it out if you'd like to know more. And for around $100, this is basically one of the better watches you can get if you're looking for a dress watch. Okay, let's move on to the price range around $500, and we should start with the Seiko Sarb017. You guys know this is a personal favorite of mine, and I think the Seiko Sarb017 or the Seiko Alpinist is a fantastic watch for the money. You got fantastic design, you got a almost iconic design, great workhorse movement, the Seiko 6R15. It's not the most accurate movement, but it's a workhorse and a very reliable movement. And it's 200 meter water resistant, and design overall is just fantastic. So this is a great watch for under $500. Another great watch is the Hamilton intramatic. And this is a dress watch, and it's probably one of my favorite dress watches under $500 or around $500. And it's 38mm, so the size is perfect for me at least. And it got a ETA 2892 movement, so the movement is it's one of ETA's better or most interesting movements in my opinion. I think many great movements from Omega and other brands are based on that 2892. So you know you're getting a fantastic movement, and it's not often seen on watches for $500 or less. So I think the intramatic is a very interesting and a fantastic watch. The Seiko Sarb017 is another great watch from Seiko, and I think this is a very interesting and not so common Seiko watch, and it's from the PRESAGE line. It features the Seiko XXxx movement, and it's a high beat movement from Seiko, so that's quite rare to see in a modern Seiko in this price range of course. And I think the design is very nice, and if you find it, I think you should really pick it up because it's a fantastic watch. The fourth watch in this price range is the very famous Hamilton Khaki field, and this got a very reliable ETA 2824, and I think the design is a classic, and Hamilton and the Khaki field is a fantastic watch, as you all know. So if you're looking for a field watch, this is a great alternative. Let's move on to watches under $1,000, so they can range from a bit above $500 to $1,000. And we should start with one of my personal favorites, and that's the Steinhart Ocean 500. And I think the Ocean 500 is probably one of my favorite watches, if not my favorite watch under $1,000, and it's honestly one of my favorite watches overall. I think it's a very nice watch with a fantastic movement, the ETA 2892 top grade, with some very nice decoration and great accuracy on top of that. It came with the Sarb and A10-2 before, and that's the model I got, but the ETA is equal to this Sarb, you can say. And some have been complaining about the titanium bracelet not matching in color, but I'm not a bracelet person, so it doesn't really mind me that much. But you should know that there are some slight variation in color from the bracelet to the watch case. But overall, I think the sapphire crystal is fantastic, and the build quality overall is just amazing for the money. So you can't really go wrong with that one. Okay, let's move on to the second watch in this price range, and that's the Christopher Ward C9 5-day automatic. And as the name says, it got a power reserve of 5 days, and it got the in-house movement from Christopher Ward. And I think that's just fantastic, and you can get it for around $800, give or take. It's on sale right now actually, so go check it out. And I think this is a fantastic watch. You get an in-house movement for under $1,000. That's very rarely seen in a Swiss-made watch. I only know of one other watch that got an in-house movement and is Swiss-made, and I will talk about that later. About the C95, the automatic, is especially the 40mm blue dial version, is a fantastic looking watch with a very high finishing, and I think it's a great watch if you're looking for a dress watch in this price range. Okay, the third watch is the Seiko Sarb017, and this is also a dress watch from Seiko in the PRESAGE line, and it got the same movement as the Seiko Sarb009 in the last price range. But I think this watch is just a great looking watch from Seiko actually, and I think this is a limited edition version, so if you can get it, if you can find it, you should really pick it up, because I think the design is timeless, and I think this is the 50 or 60 anniversary edition of another watch that looked very similar to the 026. And the movement is great, of course, and I think the white with the gold contrast is very nice looking. The last watch under $1,000 is the Frederique Slimline, and you guys know I love this watch, and this is one of my absolute favorite watches, or dress watches under $1,000. You get fantastic build quality, very simple design, and probably one of the most beautiful in-house movements I have seen. And all this for under $1,000, I think that's just amazing. And the only problem is that it's 42 millimeters big, and that's a bit too large for a dress watch, but it wears quite a bit smaller than 40 millimeters. Okay, let's move on to the price range between $1,000 to $1,500, and we should start with the Christopher Ward C1 Grand Malvern Power Serb. You can get this for around $1,500, give or take, and this watch features I think it's a reworked version of the in-house movement that I mentioned in the C9 5-day automatic. It also got a 5-day power reserve, but I think the design is very, very interesting on this watch, and the finishing is fantastic, and I think that it looks very, very good. And as always, I like in-house movements, and it's very nice to see that Christopher Ward are continuing making in-house movements for a affordable price point. The second watch is of course the sinn 556, and I think sinn overall, they make fantastic watches for the money, and you can find this for around $1,000, give or take. And it features the ETA 2824 top grade, which is not often found in watches in this price range, so that's very nice to see. And I think all sinn watches, I think it has been confirmed that all sinn watches uses top grade versions of the respective movements. And the 556 is just a fantastic looking watch. It's 38 millimeters, and it features 200 meter water resistance, so you can almost have it as a diving watch. And for me, this is a real tool watch, but I think it's very nice looking, so you can almost have it on more formal occasions. And that leads me to the third watch on the list, and that's the sinn 104. And this watch got the top grade Sellita SW220 movement. That's the equivalent of an ETA 2836. And people say that Sellita movements are generally performing a bit better than ETA, so it got a great movement. And for me, the star of this watch is the design, and I think the mix between pilot and diving in this watch is just very nicely executed, and this is honestly one of my favorite watches in this price range. So you can't really go wrong with either of these two sinn watches, so you have to choose which one you like the best. Okay, let's move on to the last watch in this price range, and that is one of my all-time favorite watches, and that's the Frederique Slimline moonphase. And this watch is basically the Frederique Slimline but with an added moonphase, so you got that fantastic in-house movement and the true moonphase. And a true moonphase in any watch in this price range is pretty hard to find, and especially with an in-house movement, that's just amazing in my opinion. And I think the dial and overall look together with the moonphase is just a fantastic match. You can also check out the Frederique Constant Classic moonphase. That one is 42.5 millimeters, and it got a Hunter caseback, a bit different dial layout, which I think looks a bit better honestly than the Slimline. It looks a bit more like a Patek Philippe or something like that, but it's too thick in my opinion. I think it's almost 12.5 millimeters thick, and it got a Hunter's caseback, which I'm not a big fan of. But those two watches are still fantastic, and I still like the classic moonphase, but I think I like the Slimline moonphase a bit better. Okay, let's move on to the price range between $2,000 to $4,000. Let's start with the Junghans MEISTER calendar. This one is a great looking watch from Junghans, and it got a ETA 2824 I think, with added calendar compilation and moonphase. So this is in my opinion a very rare compilation to find, especially in new watches, and especially in this price range I think it's almost impossible to find if you're looking for a new watch. I think the design overall of this watch is just fantastic, but there is a minus, and that's that it got a hazelit crystal or a plexiglass crystal instead of a sapphire, and that's a big minus in my opinion, but the design and the compilation really makes up for that, and I think this is a great looking watch. The second watch is the Tudor Black Bay, and this is one of my favorite watches in this price range, and I really like Tudor Black Bay, and especially now with the in-house movement, and that the in-house movement really completed the watch for me, and the price wasn't really increased, so that's very nice to see. And I really like the vintage looking, I really like a vintage looking diver with the red pip and the gilt dial. So this is a very nice and honestly pretty affordable watch. Yeah, it's a pretty expensive watch, but it offers such a great value in my opinion. Okay, let's move on to the third watch, and that's the Omega Speedmaster Professional. Yeah, this is a true icon, and most people know about the Speedmaster Professional, the first watch on the moon. And this watch got a Lemania based movement, and some people consider this to be one of the best chronograph movements, the manual chronograph movements ever made, or at least a very good movement. And it's a legendary chronograph movement, at least. I really don't have to say anything more about this watch. This is just a true icon, a special watch, and a watch you should own at least once in your life if you are a watch collector. Okay, let's move on to the last watch on the list, and that's the Seiko Master 300. And the Seiko Marine Master is for me it's a watch that offers extremely good value. You got fantastic build quality from Seiko, and you got I think the movement is called 8L35, and some people say that it is basically a raw version of a Grand Seiko movement with some slight modifications or some slight changes, but the movement in this watch is fantastic, and the build quality and all that is also fantastic. So this is honestly one of my favorite Seiko watches in this price range, and for about $2,000. I would say that Seiko, the Marine Master, is becoming or is already a icon, and I think in the future the Marine Master will be a true classic. Okay, let's move on to the last price range in this video, and that's between $5,000 to $10,000. Let's start with the Omega Speedmaster Dark Side of the Moon, or basically any side of the moon, a grey side, white side, etc. I think they are expensive watches, and all of these watches are very expensive and out of reach for most people, but I found them very interesting because the Speedmaster Dark Side of the Moon got some very nice material choices. It got the true ceramic case with all ceramic basically, so it's almost unscratchable. It's a bit fragile though, so don't drop this watch because it can shatter more easily, or I should say much more easily than iron or steel. But I think a whole ceramic case is just very interesting, and I think the design and the in-house movement of course is both interesting and great. The downside is that this watch is 44.25 millimeters, so it's a bit too big for many people, and including me, I think it's a bit too big, but it wears a bit smaller than 44 millimeters. But nonetheless, it's a fantastic watch, and one of the, I think it's the step in the right direction for, or a step up from the Professional. The second watch is the Grand Seiko GMT High Beat 36,000 bph, and especially the SBGJ001. I think this watch features the new 9686 movement. Grand Seiko overall offers some of the best value in watches in this price range, and the SBGJ001 is no exception at all. The movement is fantastic, and it's probably one of the more interesting or the better movements Grand Seiko have produced in the recent years. And I think the look and the finishing especially is of course fantastic with Grand Seikos, and I think they offer, as I said, very good value in this price range. Okay, let's move on to the third watch, and that's the Frederique Slimline Perpetual calendar. And Frederique have made a Perpetual calendar under $10,000, and this is, in my opinion, fantastic. I've not seen a Perpetual calendar in this price range ever, and I think they go for almost $20,000 or more, maybe $15,000 to $20,000, and even more maybe. Don't quote me on this, but that Frederique have made an in-house Perpetual calendar for this price, that's just amazing. And as we all know, as you guys know, I love the design of the Slimline lineup, and this is of course no exception. And the last watch, and this is one of my grail watches, and that's the JLC Ultra Thin Moon. JLC is a pretty underrated brand in my opinion, and they offer almost, and if not as good of a quality as Patek Philippe, but for a much cheaper price, and they compare a lot to Glashütte. Maybe I pronounced that wrong, but they offer great value and fantastic quality and finishing for the money. And I bet that the Ultra Thin Moon will become a future classic, because it's one of the better looking moon phase watches in recent years, and it's of course got an in-house movement and all that, as you can expect from JLC. And I will someday pick up this watch if I find it, because this is just a fantastic watch. So there you have it, guys, and of course remember that there are many watches, great watches in this price range, but these are just some of watches I have been stuck to a bit more than the other watches. So if you found this video interesting or helpful, please like and subscribe. And this will be my last video in over a month, because I'm going out traveling. So stay tuned for my next video in early May, and I hope I see you in the next one.